Deciding to walk away from someone. Wow, it's got to be one of the hardest things we ever have to do, right? It just goes against everything we're taught about being loyal and forgiving. But you know what? Sometimes it's absolutely the most necessary act of self-preservation you can make. So today, we're going to explore 5 really clear signs that your own internal warning system is telling you it's time to cut contact. Let's get into it. It almost always starts with a question, just like this one. You know that heavy, confusing feeling you just can't seem to shake? You might feel exhausted or anxious or just kind of smaller around a certain person, and you can't even explain why. If that sounds familiar, please know this. You are not imagining it. That feeling? That's not just a feeling. That's data. Okay, so before we jump into the 5 signs, we need to talk about this incredible tool you already have working for you. A lot of us think of our emotional responses, especially the ones tied to tough times in the past, as a weakness. But what if that's all wrong? What if they're actually a highly calibrated, super sophisticated warning system? Now, this requires a real shift in how we see ourselves. For anyone who's been through some serious hardship, it's easy to feel, damaged, broken. But what if the exact opposite is true? What if your past wasn't just a bunch of bad things that happened to you, but was actually the training ground that forged your resilience? And listen, this isn't just some feel-good idea. There's real science to it. There's this concept called stress inoculation, which basically says that surviving difficult situations fundamentally makes you stronger. It's like a vaccine for stress. Your past experiences have literally equipped your system to recognize and handle threats way more effectively than most people. And this is the result. These aren't just little coping mechanisms, we're talking about genuine superpowers. That ability to stay grounded when everything around you is falling apart, or that gut feeling that tells you when someone's not being real with you, that is not paranoia. That's a highly accurate radar that was forged in the fire of your own experience. You have to trust it. So, keeping in mind that you have this powerful internal system, let's look at the 5 specific alarms it sends out. I want you to think of these as the critical data points your system flags when a relationship is becoming truly unsafe for your well-being. So, the first and honestly most foundational sign, it's all about the basic respect for you as a person. You see, a boundary isn't a request. It is a clear statement of what is and what is not okay for you. So when someone consistently ignores your boundaries or pushes against them or tries to debate them, they aren't just being a little pushy. They are sending a very clear message that your needs, your comfort, and really your identity just aren't that important to them. And this just puts it perfectly, doesn't it? If your no is always treated like an opening bid in a negotiation, you are not in a relationship of equals. You're in a constant fight for your own space. And let me tell you, that is an exhausting and unwinnable war. Okay, on to the second sign. And this one's a little more subtle, a little more sneaky, because it preys on your best qualities, your kindness and your empathy. This is such an insidious tactic where someone uses your own good conscience against you. They basically make their happiness, their feelings, their stability your job. So if you do something they don't like, they don't get mad, oh no, they get disappointed or hurt, which, let's be honest, is often a much more powerful tool of control. You really have to pay close attention to this. Healthy relationships are all about sharing feelings. Unhealthy ones, they're about using feelings as leverage. So if you find yourself constantly changing what you do to manage someone else's emotional state, your empathy is being hijacked for manipulation. Period. All right, this next sign, it's less about what they do and more about how you feel on a deep physical level. It's a visceral reality. Think of your energy like it's a bank account. In a good relationship, there's a give and take, right? Some withdrawals, some deposits. But with some people, every single interaction is a withdrawal. You leave a conversation feeling exhausted, foggy, depleted, like your very life force has just been siphoned off. I love this metaphor because it's so true. I mean, you would never keep a bank account that only ever took your money, right? So why would we maintain a relationship that only ever takes our energy? This chronic drain is such a clear sign that the connection is fundamentally deeply imbalanced. Okay, number 4. This one really speaks to why it feels impossible to ever grow or resolve anything in the relationship. You just can't solve a problem with someone who refuses to admit a problem even exists, or, what's worse, insists the problem is always you. This pattern is full of constant blame shifting, making excuses, and straight up rewriting history. So when they hurt you, it was a misunderstanding, or you were being too sensitive, or somehow it was actually your fault to begin with. And this is the soul-crushing part. Over time, this constant blame shifting just erodes your sense of reality and your self-worth. You start to actually believe that maybe you are the problem. This is a massive, flashing red flag that the relationship isn't just stuck, it's actively damaging your mind. And finally, the fifth sign. Honestly, this is your body screaming its confirmation of everything else we've just talked about. This is that physical feeling of walking on eggshells. It's a state of constant tension. Your shoulders are tight, your jaw is clenched, you feel like you can't take a full deep breath when they're around. Your body, with all its survivor-trained wisdom, knows it's in a potentially threatening environment, and it is getting ready for impact. Just let that one sink in for a second. Peace and safety are the absolute foundation of any healthy connection. If your nervous system is in a constant state of fight or flight around someone, your body is telling you something your mind might be trying to make excuses for. You are not safe here. So, if these signs are flashing, if the alarms are going off, what comes next? Look, the decision to cut contact is huge, and it often comes with a whole storm of conflicting emotions. But it's so important to reframe what's actually happening here. This isn't about ending something. It's about beginning something new for yourself. This is the reframe you need to hold on to. What feels like crippling guilt is actually the courageous act of self-preservation. What feels like a personal failure is actually the success of setting a final, non-negotiable boundary. And what feels like you're giving up is actually the powerful act of reclaiming your own energy for your own life. And really, that brings us to the final, most crucial question. All that energy you spend managing them, defending yourself, recovering from your interactions, just imagine for a second if you had all of that back. Imagine it was yours to invest in your own dreams, your own health, and in the relationships that actually fill you up. Choosing to walk away isn't just about stopping the pain. It's about creating the space for your own peace to finally grow. So what will you build in that space?